Hi, everyone. How are you today? Thank you for coming to my channel, So Curious. My name is Connie. If you like this, go ahead and hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now, and we will get on with the program, what the channel is about. Something I'm curious about, which I'm sure other people are curious about. Today, it is cell phones. Cell phones can be a mystery. They can be fun. They can be anything that we want them to be. But do we allow that? Do we allow it to be anything we want it to be? Oh, I hear an ice cream truck. Whoop, isn't that weird? Ice cream trucks still do come around. Anyway, so where do the seniors, or do we call ourselves baby boomers, or do we call ourselves older people? You pick the one that fits you the best, and that's okay with me. I don't mind any of them. Obviously, we age, and there's nothing we can do about it. So, I mean, if anybody would ask me, how do you feel? How old do you feel? I would say I feel 45. And we all have a different age that we feel, but I don't feel my age. So, I don't. I don't know. I know I'm older. So go ahead and say whatever you want. But when it comes to cell phones, do we have a problem with it? Is there a fear of it? I do talk to obviously a lot of older people, and one of the things that I have noticed is it seems there's a fear of identity theft all the time in them. Some of the older people I know, they don't have their banking information on there. They don't have anything in their Google Wallet or Apple Pay, or they don't want to use that. They're afraid of their identity being stolen, or I'm not sure what. In some of those cases, there's a lot of apps people won't put on their phones because then they feel that this app has all this information about them. Um, let's face it, there's a lot of our information out there throughout different companies, and I don't think that is ever going to change. It's just not going to stop. So take a chance, I guess. And the banks, the credit cards, all of those companies are very good about actually letting you know if there's a fraud alert on your account. But then that brings us to the next thing. I think a lot of seniors are afraid that someone's going to scam them or that fraud is happening. I mean, I know I've received emails saying your Netflix account is about to be closed. And I ignore it because I already know it's all taken care of, and so I just delete that email. But if someone's putting this information on their cell phone for the first time, it could be that if something like that pops up, they're afraid that they made a mistake. And that's part of this fear that some older people have, is this making a mistake and going ahead and opening an email and finding out it's a scam, or it starts asking you for information and you start putting it in. Don't put it in. Don't put that information in there. Don't put your social security number. Don't put any your home address. If this is a legit company, they have that information. They don't need it from you directly like that. They don't even ask you if you call in. They might ask you for the last four digits of your social security number, but that is it. So just keep that in mind. And if you don't volunteer any of that information, don't give them your credit card numbers, don't give them your banking information, don't do any of that stuff. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. And if anybody is trying to use any of your information for whatever reason that they got it, um, your credit card company, your bank, even these apps or something, they're always doing checks. They're scanning and looking for scammers, looking for fraudulent behavior. They'll let you know. So it's okay. Now, what happens if we don't know how to do something. And I just had this happen just a couple days ago. And I was looking at my texts messages, and there was something that I wanted to show my daughter that I was talking to at the time. I wanted to show her an image that I had that someone had sent me, and I accidentally deleted all the messages. I was like, I don't want to delete those. I want those messages. I had some information that I wanted in them still that I didn't take off of it yet. So I didn't quite know what to do. I gave it to her, but she was in a hurry and she looked and said, I don't know. Well, I got the phone back, and once you get your head in the right space, I figured it out, immediately actually, and I got that email back and I was fine. So there are ways to undo mistakes that you might make on the phone. And we're all going to make these mistakes. And there's just no doubt about it. It's going to happen. So keep that in mind. But you're not alone. If you don't think that the younger generations go through the same thing, they do. I've watched them ask each other for help, and and that's good. I mean, I'm glad, but I think the difference is they make it seem like, well, this is nothing asking somebody for help, but then when we ask, they just have to roll their eyes or just say, "Give me your phone. Let me see it. What'd you do?" And that's just not cool, guys. I'm just going to tell you, that's just not cool to do, because you don't get that same attitude when you ask somebody for help. If you do, not everybody does, and not even older people. There's a lot of them that don't need any help. They're very good at the phone and they figured it all out. I haven't figured out everything. I figured out everything that I need to know, but I haven't figured out everything. And so I don't know if it matters to me, because if I need to have that information, I'll figure it out. I mean, and again, you can Google anything. I mean, you can Google and say, how do I do this on my phone? And the only reason I was struggling with that information on my phone with the text is I just bought a new phone. I just got that like 2 months ago. And I used to always have Samsungs. I went to a Motorola. So some things are a little bit different. So I didn't know where the things were that I normally use. People who use iPhones, they know them inside and out, and they're pretty amazing phones. Uh, but if I went and got an iPhone, I'd have to learn that whole thing. That's okay, but I don't feel like learning it, and I don't really care one way or the other. I just want a phone. And so it's the same thing when we buy a new phone and we buy a different manufacturer. It's what happens. But I've just noticed a lot of different things lately with cell phone usage, and I was kind of surprised in one way, because I just started to notice it. So and I know it's been happening, but I didn't really pay attention to it. But for the most part anymore, everyone's cell phones are silent. Um, I think, and I have to assume that everybody's on vibrate, but I don't hear their phones vibrate. I'm not sure how this happened, but I remember a time when it was so annoying to go anywhere. Even you could be standing in line at a grocery store, and the first three people in front of you, they're talking on their phones while they're trying to cash out, and the cashier's asking them a question, and they're just like, oh, telling the cashier, hold on a minute, instead of hang up your phone. Call them back in 3 minutes. Nothing's going to change in 3 minutes unless it's an absolute emergency. And if it's an absolute emergency, you shouldn't be in line in a grocery store. Get out of there. So, um, it's kind of weird that this used to happen and people would talk on their cell phones. And I have to say, and I just I don't really like to point fingers, but I do have to say I don't see that much in the younger people at all, but I do still see that in some older people. And I don't know if you understand, we don't really want to hear your conversation. It's great you're having a great conversation on the phone, but I'm just not that nosy. I don't really want to hear you. So it's just like, why are you yelling into your phone anyways? You can talk in a low voice and they're still going to be able to hear you. So, let's kind of cool that, older people. We don't want to hear your conversations. But I was at a get together, and everybody had their phones. All the kids had their phones. The younger ones, they're on the couch and they're watching their little YouTubes or their TikToks or their Instagrams, whatever it is that they watch. They sat, and did that. Some of them are playing games on there and enjoying themselves, so we can just sit and talk. And then I realized that, everybody had their phone there. We're pretty respectful about not having our faces in our phones while we sit at a party or a gathering. And this is my family in particular. It's not where everywhere I go, not all people are like that. But I'll see them all of a sudden pick up their phone, and I see them texting, and I think, okay, how did you know you had a text? I mean, I didn't hear your phone. I didn't hear anything. And this is where I'm bad. I guess it's got to be me. When a text comes through for me, it goes dang, will make some noise. And if somebody's calling me, my phone rings out loud. And if somebody's at my front door and I'm somewhere, my doorbell goes off on my phone. And I realized I'm the only one that's making any noise. Nobody else is making any noise. I mean, mine aren't on loud, but they're loud enough because I don't carry my phone with me everywhere. I mean, I might have it and sit it on a table or something, but I eventually walk away from it and I might go outside to see what everybody's doing outside, or I might go over to the neighbor's house, and I don't take my phone with me everywhere I go. Half the time when I get up in the morning, I leave it in bed because I actually listen to audiobooks at night. So I leave it on my bed and I start going around the house cleaning or doing whatever it is I do. And I don't even realize that I don't have my phone until all of a sudden I might hear, a noise. And then I'll go, oh, let me go see if that was a text or just a stupid notification of some sort. So I have to figure. I asked, and they did say their phone's on vibrate, but I'm thinking, well, if they're on the table, I would see it vibrate a little bit, but I don't. So I don't know if they're all on vibrate or if they're on silent, or if it's just I don't know how they're seeing and knowing that they're getting these phone calls or texts, but they do. So I give them a lot of credit for that. I really, really do, because otherwise, with the amount of cell phones that are at any gathering you're at, it could sound crazy if everybody's phone was going off and different dings were going and ring bells were going and all the other stuff were going. It would be annoying. But my other thing is, when I do see people with sitting at a gathering and their faces right into their phone, what are they looking at? I mean, there was one time where I looked around and everybody did have their phone in their hand, and I thought, hmm. So I picked up my phone and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll look through like photos or something. And then I sit there and say, I don't want to look at everything else, your YouTube or TikTok or Instagram. Not that I have those two on my phone, I don't, but I don't know. I don't want to play a game while I'm sitting there with a bunch of other people. Why would I want to do that? So I eventually just shrug my shoulders and put my phone down and think, I don't know what you guys are looking at. But sometimes it's interesting. I found conversations that people will bring up because they've something struck them while they were sitting there and they've looked it up on their phone, and then they'll start talking about it. I know the last time we were all together, which I felt really good about, someone brought up my video on Who Wants Your Stuff, and it became a complete topic. I mean, we must have talked for half an hour between all the different adults that were there and their children that were there, their adult kids that were there, and everybody had something to say. So I'm going to follow up on that Who Wants Your Stuff video and let you know some of these comments that were made, because it was a very, very interesting conversation, which is what that was supposed to be about. It's supposed to give you questions to go to another gathering or something and ask people, well, what do you think about this kind of stuff, and see what they say. So I was real appreciative of that. It actually worked out very well. So that's one thing they were doing. I did ask one other person that was sitting there, what are you looking at? And she said, oh, I'm playing a game. Okay. I'm thinking, are we that boring that you're sitting there playing a game while there's 5 or 6 people here all talking? But you know what? I'm not gonna judge a person that does that. I'm really not. I find it different, but I'm not. If that's how they want to do it, that's fine. Uh, the but I think at least the younger kids have gone over to a couch or something and sat and played, because you're not always interested in what everybody talks about. So I don't know what we do. The one thing I did find out with this is that it wasn't until Nokia came out in 1993 with texting that we started having texting. I didn't realize that we had that it was that long ago. I really didn't. So we have had texting for a long, long time. In the beginning, of course, all we could do was call somebody and they could call us. And, that was fine. In the beginning, that's what we knew. But when texting came out, I think that's when things really started to change. And it took a while, I think, for people to really get the hang of texting. I know people that were my age were always like, I wish they would just call me and not text me. And you ask them now, they say, I wish they would just text me and quit calling me. you know, I mean, that's not necessarily true with me, but I like calls and I like texts. But I hear those things all the time. So it is different. But my biggest thing is, if we do need help with our phone, if the younger generation, whatever, just could you take maybe the time to show us what you're doing? Because I think that's part of the problem too, is that they take our phones and then we see them moving around with the phone and going to all these different things, and sometimes going, oops, and I don't know what they're doing to my phone. What if they're changing a setting that I want? I don't know. But it doesn't teach us anything. It's like going to a job that someone says, here, I want you to put this program on the computer. And you say, okay, well, what would you like? Well, you figure it out. Okay, well, that could be, a 3-hour program. That could be a program for an app. That could be anything. I mean, who knows what it is? So It's the same thing with us when we ask. It's like, I don't care if you want to hold, because I understand it's easier to do it in your own hands, but let me hold my phone, or you hold my phone, but hold it in front of me. And if you make mistakes, or if you not sure where to go on my phone, I get that. But if you just take it and do it and hand it back, I think, at least what I've researched, is that a lot of older people, it makes them feel like you think they're not as smart as they were in your life, or that, oh geez, they're getting older, and it's in a negative voice, in their heads. Not, the young people aren't saying it. I mean, some might go, and hand you your phone back and say, here, like, all done. um, but that's not what we want to feel like. We don't want to feel that way, because it's not that we are dumb or stupid or whatever. We just don't have that same type of knowledge that you have on the phone. You grew up with it. Even when cell phones came out, a lot of us still kept our landlines. We weren't ready to give those things up yet. We just weren't. And it took quite a few more years before everyone finally was saying, I'm done with landlines. So give us a break. And tell us how you feel when someone older asks you to help. I mean, do you like to actually stop and take the time to show them? Or do you just grab their phone and fix it for them and hand it back, and everything's hunky dory to you, but not to necessarily the adult that you took the phone from? But let me know how you think, and what your thinking is. And seniors, or older people, tell me, where do you struggle the most? Is it your fear of identity, that you don't want to put too much on it? Do you use yours just to look for YouTubes or watch little shorts? Or are you on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook on there? I mean, I don't know. Everybody's different on what they want on their phone, but we have so many options now. It's just absolutely amazing. So let me know if you like this video, this channel, So Curious. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, and let's have a great day today. So please enjoy your day, no matter if it's morning, evening, or afternoon to you. Just enjoy your day. Have a great one, and I will talk to you later. Bye.